Once the kids get their families on it.
Yeah, but if they're together, I'll take one just like that. Where's Joe? You want the whole family now?
Yeah.
You want the kids or not? Not yet. We're going to do it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Everybody ready? No. One time real quick, raise your hand.
Boy, one back here, one back here.
Just hold them up for a minute. See, Dan.
My hair's a mess, y'all.
Okay. Good job. Okay, baby. We're all family. Good job. Now you can get the kids up. All the kids go with them. Okay, now that one, yep.
Hey.
What? I'm too jealous.
Come on, camera doing like that.
Come on, here. Right, wait, are there two more?
Madonna.
Terry.
Bucket.
One more time. Is she this way?
There's Terry.
We're missing yours.
I seen yours head
And the
towards
family is growing and growing.
Fort Phil.
Oh, we did.
Missing there now.
Well, the game's pretty lost.
She went to get her and
Your girlfriend's not coming?
No, she's not feeling good.
she's not married to him yet. She doesn't want to come. She says
Next year,
Okay.
next year, y'all.
You know, this is a true test, bringing her to one of these, too.
Yeah.
She might change her mind.
Yeah, she's got a week left to go.
She said she was only supposed to be one relative at a time.
One relative a month.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Well, let's look. Yep. Let's
Either. This is Roy Dean and Carol, is that right? That's what I was thinking. Bowerman all the way from California. And I should have had this going while you were talking about your mother, Roy Dean, and her garden.
Yeah, she's got too big of a garden down there for her, but she's still doing it anyway.
She's 80 years old now, huh?
Yep.
When's her birthday?
February the
little tab.
12th.
February 12th.
Oh, so we can't record over it?
And she
Yeah, now, you do know how to do that.
80 this year.
Yeah, you just take over.
And is
You
just
just tape over.
mom.
She's never changed over the years. She's
Always been mom.
She's always been the same Aunt Mary.
Yep.
Great person. Well, we bored him with a tornado video.
I wish you'd have, some of these days I ought to get around and put that other piece that neighbor made over there, the one up north that fell off of his patio.
Well, we don't have that on there, do we?
It's not on that.
I was thinking it was. Yeah, that's a good strip, too.
You take the camcorder, you put it up, and you're looking through this little bitty peep sight. He was standing on a 3.5-inch rail, and on his, he's got a tri-level house. Okay, the deck is up over the view out part. So he got up on there and he couldn't see right on account of the trees, so he got up on the rail, standing up on the rail, taking pictures of this thing. And right at the end, he goes, "Oh!" and you can see everything's falling, and then everything just quits. But he fell off of the rail of that.
It's like when it's in the American Funny.
Yeah. You guys were at our old place, weren't you?
Yeah.
I was thinking so long time ago. I was telling Jim that I was.
Well, it's a little different over there now than what it was then. I've got, we built a big garage back. And, let's see, I built the big garage back, and then I built a garage out behind. And that's all that's over there. We got to keep our property.
Is that right? That's what I was thinking. Bowerman all the way from California. And I should have had this going while you were talking about your mother, Roy Dean, and her garden.
Yeah, she's too big of a garden down there for her, but she's still doing it anyway.
She's 80 years old now, huh?
Yep.
When's her birthday?
February
Little
the
tab.
12th.
February 12th.
Oh, so we can't record over it?
And she
Yeah, now, you do know how to do that.
80 this year.
Yeah, you take over.
And is
You
just
just take over.
mom.
She's never changed over the years.
She's always been mom.
She's always been the same Aunt Mary.
Yep.
Great person. Well, we bored him with a tornado video.
I wish that some of these days I ought to get around and put that other piece that neighbor made over there, the one up north that fell off of his patio.
Well, we don't have that on there, do we?
It's not on that.
I was thinking it was. Yeah, that's a good strip, too.
You take the camcorder and put it up, and you're looking through this little bitty peep sight. He was standing on a 3.5-inch rail, and on his, he's got a tri-level house. Okay, the deck is up over the view out part. So he got up on there and he couldn't see right on account of the trees. So he got up on the rail, standing up on the rail, taking pictures of this thing. And right at the end, he goes, "Ah!" And you can see everything's falling, and then everything just quits. But he fell off of the rail of that.
Like one that's in the American Swing.
Yeah. You guys were at our old place, weren't you?
Yeah.
I was thinking so a long time ago. I was telling Jim that I was.
Well, it's a little different over now than what it was then. I've got, we built a big garage back. And, let's see, I built the big garage back, and then I built the garage out behind. And that's all that's over there. We got to keep our property. But,
Didn't want to build a house there then.
well, I didn't want the hassle of messing with contractors.
Didn't want to move into one.
All you got to do is
Probably would have been.
now, you remember all of the junk that you seen in there that was scattered all over. Sherry and Stephanie run about 2 blocks back over there where they parked the car. They wouldn't let them bring the car in.
Yeah.
She had on heels.
Police officer said, "You're not going in, there's lines down." I said, "What?" I said, "But that's where my coach's house was." You can't go in. I said, "Oh, yeah? Bye, come on, Steph."
But what kept them from cutting their feet up?
She had on heels, okay? You can't run in muddy soil with heels.
Yeah.
No, you
She
can't.
pulled them off and went barefoot.
Well, and then after when she
Walking
was
on glass, huh?
helping us clean up, she stepped on a nail, and it really did hurt her foot badly, and she was on crutches even for a while. And
Oh, yeah.
but she had shoes on then.
She had on shoes over there helping us
Kicked my
clean
shoes
up,
off then.
stepped on me and went come through the shoe and up into her foot and everything. And she run that 2 blocks that night right out across through all that rubble, and I know she wasn't picking out where she was stepping. Across 2 barbed wire
About Mom
fences.
and Dad.
Well, she was the one who called us and told us that there was a tornado down there at her place.
The only thing I could think of is getting Steph's hand, because we were both running here for a little bit, and you could see those wires every once in a while popping, you know. Give me your hand, Steph, and you jump when I say jump.
That way you both jump on the same wire at the same time.
When you think back, when I think back that point, that was stupid. Because all I could think about is, I gotta get over there because they're hurt.
And they came around. I was at the front of the house talking with one of the neighbors, And Jim had decided to go around the back of the house and see what it looked like around behind there. And I said, well, Daddy's around behind the house, but he's fine.
Well, you weren't there at first.
Yeah, I could hear someone holler,
My
Mama.
figure was there,
Mama.
and I said, where's my parents? I don't know, they're not here.
Well, that makes you feel a lot better.
Mom, Dad!
I finally heard her, and then I went around and, and talked to her. But they wouldn't take my word that Daddy's okay. They had to go back around there and find out for sure.
One of them bit me on one side and one of them hit me on the other side, and I couldn't even breathe for a little bit.
Worse than a tornado.
More damage then. Sherry, you ought to hear them talk about their daughter who's going to get married.
Oh, really?
And
Count your blessings that yours went to Vegas.
Big time.
it said the bills,
We're looking at right now at over $8,000.
Oh, gosh.
That's right now.
One of those California big spender weddings.
Wow.
she's 22, and Jimmy's 26, you said, didn't you? See, we're almost getting reacquainted. It's been so long since we've seen him.
Yeah, we've kind of been dragging our feet about the family, but the family's sneaking off and getting old on us now.
I know it. We're the same way.
You know,
And I need to do an Abercrombie family tree. No one has done that. My dad was an only child.
mine started, we had a family reunion down there for Parker family, and I started it because there was nothing really going on that. And I found out Aunt Viva was doing the Bowerman, so I just got copies of her stuff.
Right,
And I put all of that in, but I didn't put it in. I was working mainly on the Parker, and I got the Parker pretty well covered.
Did you?
But the Bowerman stuff, I really didn't do much until Aunt Viva died, and then I felt bad that I'd never gotten the thing all put in, so I sat down and I put all of it, everything that she had at that point in time on the Bowerman family, I put it all in to the family tree program that I have.
Family tree, that's what I've got.
Oh, wonderful.
Is it family tree for windows? Or
Yep.
Is it, I've been wanting to get that. I've just got the old DOS version. Does it convert over from DOS to Windows?
I would
Yeah, it
think that they'd
does,
have...
but I don't know whether it'll go backwards, but that's okay.
Oh, well, we're getting the Windows.
Well, I might...
So,
Don't worry, do you have Windows on your computer?
yeah, I do.
Okay, then don't worry about it. Because I'm gonna send you the data that I have already on the Bowermans, and I'll send you a copy of the family tree for Windows because I won't give you the newest version because that's the one I'm using. But every time they upgrade, I've got from the Windows, I've got that was 2.0, and they're up to 3.4 right now. And I keep getting the upgrades every time. So I can send you like 3.3 or 3.3.
Oh, that'd be great.
And I have those there, and you can just go ahead and load that, and then this data will work on them. I think it'll work straight over to what you have right now, but I won't guarantee that. But
I've got some kind of a tape in here, program, but I'm not sure which one it is. It might be the family tree. I never did get it on my computer.
I've got a whole bunch of, well, through the, 5-6 years now that we've been doing the family reunion, 7 years, something like that. I don't remember how long.
I don't know, you started it.
Yeah. Somebody sends out a flyer each year, and they get stuff sent back, and I try to get a copy each year, and it's got pictures and stuff in there. I'll go through and make copies of those pictures. And
Yeah, I told Roy Dean I would send him.
I got a scanner, a
You do?
hand scanner right now, but the scanners, when you've got them up, they just don't give you the quality that the picture does.
Right.
And even the best, and my company has the best down there, and it still won't scan the quality that I'm looking for on a picture. And because of that, I've got a Minolta 35 millimeter camera that I went out and bought special lenses for, and then I took the top off of an overhead projector and I mounted this 35 millimeter camera on it, and I can set and take any photo and lay it down on that overhead projector screen and just take a picture of it. And the picture, you can't tell the difference. It's just, it's a.
That is super. I wish you lived closer here. I'd have you help me fix the camera that way.
Because I've got that, I went through all of Mom's stuff, and then I've gone to different relatives. I went up to Aunt Viva's before she died, but she was sick when I went up there, that she couldn't find very many of them, and I've got five rolls of pictures from her already. But when I was at Johnny's last night, they brought out 10 photo albums, and Rodney told me that he had 10 photo albums also.
My
They'd split them down the middle.
Some of them were grand.
Well, part of it's grand, and when we were there, Aunt Viva didn't pull grand stuff out. Couldn't find it.
You know, the boys might have had it possibly.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
Think
I don't
she just couldn't have.
It was out there, but I think it was maybe out in the garage or something like that.
Store.
And Aunt Viva was already feeling so bad that
Yeah.
she couldn't find it then. So, and I just told Johnny there last night, I said, well, next summer when I come back, and I'll be back next summer, I said, I'm bringing my rig, and I'm going to come up, and I'm going to go through every one of your photos, you know.
Good.
There's some of them, I ain't going to take every picture.
Right.
But there's a lot of Grandma Bowerman's mother and her family and stuff, you know, that is there. And I'm going to go in there and take pictures of all of that stuff. You know, there's a lot of your pictures of the kids and stuff like that I probably won't take a shot of every one of them. But
well, those of some of the ancestors that we probably haven't even seen would be really neat to put in a family
you can
history
guarantee
book.
those will be in there because
Yeah.
as long as their places don't burn down between now and then, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
You know.
Like you said, you know, the pictures really need to be scattered.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
we definitely found that in a tornado.
John Costlow's got some.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that, I got the ones from, they're just a black and white, they were black and white picture, and then he's made a copy of it. Somebody's,
Well, now that was Costlow's.
no, there's some on the Bowerman too. Sorry, that was a veterinarian. I'd have to dig back down. But just looking at the clothes and stuff, it was, you remember which one I'm talking about, Danny?
Not really. I know
It was an old.
There's a bunch of real old stuff Don had.
He wound up putting the Bowerman and the Costlow in one book. And I was getting confused, which is, I sat down with Daddy one night, down there, remember when I printed out the family tree, and I had all for my kitchen clear in the front room, and
Yeah, no, I know.
it's kind of neat.
Right at this moment, my family tree, if you bounce up in it and ask it, it's got a status bar, and it says you have 4,870 people.
Wow.
Family tree, and that,
My family too.
the only thing I have in there on the Costlows is what Aunt Viva had, and I brought copies of what she had in her stuff, so everybody knows exactly what I've got. That's what she had, and I brought these. These are, this is off the old Commodore 64, these sheets, and I'd like for you guys to pass them out.
Okay.
And get everybody to look at this and fill it out so that we can update it.
Let's see what else on those.
It's just a standard family slip, and it just gives you the family group.
Beverly's asking, you know, we haven't gotten it across that every year whoever's host or hostess kind of starts from scratch again. What we need to do is to get one nice set and each year updated. And so Beverly,
If you can get it to me, I can, because I've already got every bit of this in. If they give it to me, you'll have it, because I will put it in. I'm a couch mouse potato.
couch mouse potato.
Yeah, I'm either watching TV or I sit and play on my computer. Okay, and that's all I do in the evenings. And I'll go in and sit down on that computer, and I spend a couple hours in the evening playing on the computer, and this is the one thing that I do enjoy. I've been going out on the internet and bringing in stuff off the internet for the Bowermans. I've got a lady up in Indiana that got a whole slug of stuff that I don't have on the Bowerman family, and I want to go out and I got a hard copy her something because I want to get a hold of what she's got out.
Yeah. Now, how are you going to handle?
Change addresses on the internet. Ours is real easy.
Oh, yeah, why don't you get a pencil over there on that desk, Sherry?
Just flip that page over and write it on the back there.
Yeah. Write it down for me, too.
You know, this is the same one that Uncle Don used in his book. Okay.
R. Bowerma. Bowerma.
And
And that's America Online, AOL.com.
AOL.com.
And the reason I went with that is that's the name that they tagged me with at the company that I work at, and that's what I have to deal with their email, and I can pull email off of my company, and because of it, I just stayed with that one.
Did you ever get you a laptop that you could bring back here and plug into a phone?
I don't have one yet. I want one, but I haven't done that
Not
yet.
that yuppie yet.
You're
paying for weddings instead.
Yeah.
My big unit is as portable as I need it to be, though. I'm not afraid to bring it across.
Really?
My job at the company I'm working at is taking care of the telephone system and the community, or all
computers.
The computer network, and my wife works on the school in the computer lab, so.
Oh, neat.
I built my own computer.
You guys were computer whizzes, yeah.
No.
No?
No, we're just
I'm more of a
computer
computer whiz on.
No, the teachers at school think I'm a computer genius. No, I know a little bit more than you do, but
Now, you want a genius.
I'm trying to stay ahead of the kids.
Well, that's hard.
If you want a computer genius, you get my son.
Really?
That's what he majored in.
He
college.
majored in it in college, and that's what he works in as a, thank you. That's what he works at, where he's at. He works for automated data processors out there, and the Western United States, he works for the largest company that deals in it. You go to a car lot and you buy a new car, and you go over to the lady or the man that is doing the insurance and finance and all that stuff. His company has that computer network. There is 3 of those computer networks in the Western United States, and he's one of them. When that lady has a problem, she calls him. Okay? And he works computers to the point that on my computer, he'll sit down and start typing through the screens, and he will be typing commands 2 or 3 screens out. He's not even seeing it. He has to stop and wait for it to get to him to see what it says then. You know, and he'll be 2 or 3 screens ahead.
He knows what it's going to be.
Yeah, he knows what it's going to do and where he's headed, and he's just bouncing out through the thing. And it's scary to watch him go because he's typing 80 words a minute. You know, and it's just, when he goes through that thing, he's just typing, and
He loves computers, though. He told us from the time he was about 5th grade.
yeah.
Well,
Go to college and learn about computers, and that's what he wanted to do.
you know, it's good. There's some good jobs in that field, and it's so big now. I mean, everything's computerized. So that's super. That's good.
So shame you guys couldn't be here next weekend.
We didn't know when
Yeah,
it
we get
was.
back here and we find out that if we scheduled a week later, we could have done it.
I've been there. I've been there.
We need to have.
Mom never tells us anything.
Well, she might not have known.
When did
She
she
might
find
not
out
have known. I don't know. I doubt if Beverly thought to send that Maria.
She got a letter about it.
Oh, did she? Did she?
How long ago was that?
Well, that's probably back in March or.
So see, we didn't get our tickets till April. She probably just didn't think
She probably
about the
didn't.
fact that we would even be interested in going.
I'd go. I'd love to go.
All right.
Yeah, so put
That's
us on the list.
okay. I'll
You have our home address. I think we've gotten Christmas cards.
let me double check.
We
I'm
haven't
gonna set
moved
that
in
right down there. You got a
20
pencil,
years.
Sheriff?
I'll get one.
We've been in the same house 20 years, so.
I'll probably have it
Just
then.
make sure that they get notification of the next year.
Yeah, and we'll come through. I'd love to come through
Yeah,
for it.
when we come back here, we always talk about how much fun it'd be to see all the Costlow, because we haven't seen them in years and years.
Now, your mom come over to,
Fall River.
let's see, she was at Fall River and she was coming over to the one that we had at
Oh, that's right.
the park over there whenever she slid her car.
Yes,
Yeah, we heard about that.
Shimmerhorn Park.
Shimmerhorn Park over there.
Land.
They're
Guys
next
went
to
over
Bowerman.
Went over there and found her, Yeah, we got worried about her because we thought, well, we thought she would be there.
Yeah, just for information's sake, she now has had her cataracts removed, and she
Has
sees
she?
real well now.
Good. I didn't realize she had cataracts.
Oh, yeah,
She might have told us.
She'd gotten down to the point that I really don't
Very
believe that
blind.
she was seeing more than 10% of anything.
They'll just eventually get worse and worse, so
Yeah,
I've been told.
and when she had one worked on, what was that, 7 or 8 years ago, and she kind of fussed all the time. It was wrong. It hurt. This was back when they first started
Yeah.
all of this stuff, and it was with the implant or something like that. And she was always carrying on about how bad it was and all this stuff. This time, I really believe they bother her worse now than they did before. Back, she was so blind that she didn't have a choice. I think she was down to where she was seeing about 10% of what was out there.
Well, they just did, they only take them off once, don't they?
Well,
Well, yeah, they did that other eye, but they did some sort of laser.
Did something to the other eye too.
yeah, but what
both eyes
happened was the one that they did
before.
the way they did that, there is about a 8 to 10 year period there, and it formed some sort of a scar over it, and you lose a certain amount of sight out of it, and they go back with a laser and remove the scar somehow.
I see.
My
And,
mom said there's some kind of film
yeah,
too that will go over the eye, because my mom's had it done. She had to go back and they zapped this film that had developed.
Oh,
over her eye.
doggone. I didn't know that they film would, but it sounds reasonable when you mention scar tissue,
Yeah.
you know.
She had that done, so she can see out of both
Well,
eyes
that's
now.
good, because Aunt Mary is such an active person. She likes to get around, and that's wonderful. That is,
Yeah,
I'm
she
sure
was
all the
gonna
drivers down there are glad that she
well,
can see.
riding with other people to places, because she couldn't see.
Did she say whether she's gonna try to come this year or not?
She said she wasn't going to be able to make it. There's,
Some of Junior's kids.
yeah,
coming in.
Junior is one of her nephews, one of my cousins, and him and a couple of his kids are going to be down right after that, and she's got to stay home and clean the house, and you know, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
know,
I'll be
And
spotless.
cook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cook, get ready.
she's got to go through all of that routine, and she just didn't think she'd have time to come up for this and be there to do all of that.
You having it up this way somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Sounded like she-
About an hour out west, haven't you?
Sounded like she was not
yeah,
real thrilled with the long drive.
Kind of long ways for her, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, it'd be a pretty long drive just out here to Wichita for her.
Oh, that's
And
wrong.
then it's another hour on out there to the lake where they're gonna have it. And that's, well, whenever Sherry had it that year, well, we had it over at Fall River, and that was halfway to Baxter, so. And it worked out pretty good. People from out here could go, and
There's a place, we got some literature when, on it, resort down at one of the lakes in northeastern Oklahoma, where they have a lot of family reunions and so
Down
forth.
around Grand Lake down there.
No, it's not Grand, it's one of the others. It's a little bit farther south and west. But anyway, it sounded like it might be a fun place. and it'd be something for everybody.
You have these like.
My family's talking about, Texoma.
Texoma,
Yeah, the Parker family is talking about doing one down on.
Or Texoma.
Usually,
Yeah, we used to go to
we were having
Texoma and
trips
fish
over
every
Thursday,
year.
Friday night.
And
And then Saturday
They're
night
talking
was
about
big.
having
Everybody
bunches
does
of
hot
cabins
dogs
down
and
there.
kids play games.
they do
like
have,
that,
in
so-
fact, at Texoma Lodge, I don't know whether they had cabins, but they have a lodge there
Well, they have cabins that you can rent right there too.
at the lodge.
Yeah,
don't they?
that's what they were talking about. There's someplace down there, there was,
Yeah,
there was Texoma.
Dorothy was talking about?
Yeah, Texoma, Lake
It's
Texoma.
on the border of Texas,
it's on the
Oklahoma,
border.
in both states. It's a big lake.
Yeah, it goes on for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah,
It's a long ways down there, though.
if
From
you
here,
Yeah.
buy a fishing license in Texas, you can fish Texoma, every bit of it.
Yeah,
If you buy them in Oklahoma, you can fish Texoma, every bit of it.
They're reciprocal then, apparently, aren't they?
Yeah.
that sounds like the Colorado River stamp. You have to get a special stamp for the Colorado River because it borders both California and
Oh, is that-
Arizona. And you have to have a special stamp out there. And
Yeah.
that, the money that is taken in for that stamp is split
Between
between the two states.
Yeah. Well, if you go down there and buy a 10-day permit, and say you're staying at the Texoma Lodge or there at that campground, you buy a 10-day permit in that area. You can fish any place on the lake, but don't go down to across the lake and down on the Texas side and go down there and gas up and take your load of, if you've got fish, don't pull in over there and gas up, come back to Oklahoma to gas up. And now if you buy a regular fishing license, you can fish any place and stop any place you want to. But just the permits, if you buy an Oklahoma permit for 10 days, you better come back to Oklahoma. You know.
But if you go over there and gas up, then
Well, if you've got a load of fish and you go over there and you pull in and tie up to their dock, when you've got fish, it's not legal. Even though you bought a 10-day permit for the lake.
Carol, why don't you write your address on there? I'm not sure whether I have it or not.
I know we went down to Keystone, down there at Tulsa, went fishing, and I just went ahead and bought a yearly out-of-state permit, fishing permit. That way, if I want to go to Texoma, I can go down to Texoma and go fishing.
yeah, you can go to Grand Lake or
Yeah.
go any place on Spring River over there and fish that.
Yeah.
You know, they have a place, one of the guys at work was telling me, out here at Lake Afton, of course, that's not a very good lake to go boating. But they have their family reunion out there every year, and there's a big building out there that is air conditioned. And he says it works ideal for them, because the elderly people can stay in the air conditioning and they can visit and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're not too far away where the kids can go swimming, and there's playground real close too where kids can go play.
Yeah, it's on the west side of it.
Mm-hmm. But as
Well,
far as-
this is going to be quite a ways. Well, it's probably kind of in the middle of some of them where the Parker family's going to have their reunion.
Oh, yeah, because a big part of the Parker family that goes to this is now down Fort Worth and Dallas and like that, so.
So that'll be close for them,
Yeah,
or better for them.
we've got a big chunk of our family down in there now that comes to this, and then we normally have either Pat or Jim comes in from up in California. They're up, Pat's in San Jose. Jim, nobody knows where he's at right at the moment, including Pat.
Which way does the Parker go?
Parker's
That's Mother's family.
Aunt Mary's family.
Yeah, it's a very confusing family tree, and I chase rabbits all the time. That's the reason I'm wanting this. I consider you know, when you start one of these family trees and you get going, your earlier family tree only has a certain amount. Mine will handle over 1 million individuals. You know, once you get up into the three and above, it'll take as big as your hard drive is. It'll just keep putting people in. And I just, well, like I say, I've got 4,800 people, and I don't even figure that I'm started. I've gone into and read stuff out of other people in the family tree that have had 10 and 12,000 members in their family that are tied down.
Do you have a printout of it?
I've got the Parkers printed out, and it's current. I don't have anything on the Bowerman at the moment, but I promised Rodney and Johnny that I'd print it out. But she'll be getting everything we got, because it don't separate it out. You'll end up with Parker and the Bowerman and everything else.
Yeah. If you want him to get it to you.
Yeah.
Because it's coming back. I'll just
You got
download
their
that.
address, so I can send them one stuff.
I'll just download that and send it back to her,
Okay.
and then she can print it out, anything you need off from it. Family Tree has a program out there where the family Broderbund, which is the outfit that makes Family Tree, is their home company is right there about 20 miles south of where I work. And because people all over the country had asked them, they've got what they call a world family tree started.
Oh.
And if you get the updates, you get into, they give you a world family tree reader, and you can go out on AOL to their the family tree site, and you can bounce around on it and read other people's
Family
trees, and then the company itself, like what I'll be sending her, is the same thing that you would send to them, and they put it on a CD.
Okay.
And they have 7 CDs right now with something like 12 million members on this thing. The 2 CDs that I have at the house have, I think, about 1,400 family trees on them, and there is information. I'm sure there's Costlow information in there.
Let me write down my maiden name and see if you take a look and see if it's on there.
He'll blow his mind if he gets that many.
Yeah, you know, I did some searches on different things out there. There's a lot of Abercrombie that you can find.
Oh, yeah.
And I started sending all these people notes. Will you send me information?
Now give me, along with that, so I can tie it into you exactly, give me your mother and father, and like your grandmother and grandfather on that side, so that I can, because you can hit Abercrombie just on the current network that I got, the Bowerman that I kicked into. There was 1,200 hits. There's 1,200 different locations out there that had information on Bowermans. And if you just ask it for Abercrombie, so you have to go out and start going specific on it, and then it'll come back with this information.
Did you go check the census and all that?
Yeah, I've got
And the old marriage, I forget where.
the Census Bureau. They have a hall of records down in Burlingame, which is about about 100 miles south of us, and we've gone down and actually sat down there and pulled up the films and ran the films, looking at Bowerman stuff and whatnot. And I got a lot of dates and stuff on that.
Wow.
It's a hobby, and I've got 3 main hobbies. Fishing's one of them, and I get off on it for a while, and I'll do it, and then I go away from it. And right now, the hot hobby at my house is rocks again. I cut and polish rocks.
Fishing's pretty nice.
I have to come out and stay with you guys a week.
I do
we have an
silver
empty house.
jewelry and like that.
Just invite myself here.
Yeah, come on. Always got time.
2 spare bedrooms, our kids left home.
Anytime. Everybody's welcome.
We got into that about, 2 years ago or so? When we started tumbling rocks and...
I'm the rock shop foreman for the lapidary club there. They have their own rock shop. I have everything they have, but I won't go out in my own garage and use it. But I volunteered on Wednesday nights all summer long to go down and open their shop and have it open for the club members, and that means that I'll have to do some work out there. And so I'm getting very busy in my rock stuff again. But come out, I'll teach you how to cut and run your rocks through, cut slabs, polish them right on the spot. If you stick around long enough, I'll even show you how to set them in silver.
Oh, wow.
I have all of that equipment and do it all. Just a fun game.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what this is.
Whenever you're taking a walk, you're looking down all the time at the ground.
Would you like to see the rocks that I picked up down in Oklahoma?
All right, somebody else does that.
Yeah, I gotta go walking in the evenings, and you had to come back with a few rocks.
Now I know where it's coming from, Daddy.
That Bowerman link.
Yeah. Well, how's Mike doing?
Doing good, doing good. My son bought the condominium right next door to Mike, so they,
Oh, he did?
yeah, Mike
Bachelors
is,
are sticking together.
Bachelors are sticking together.
Mike owns a condominium there in La Habra, and there's three of them across the front of this unit, and Mike has one, and my son has one, and there's this little old lady, and we keep telling Mike we're going to come down and kick her out and buy it ourselves now that our kids are
Three Bowermans across the street.
Yeah, right, right.
And Jimmy's saying, come on down. You don't really want us next door, do you?
Yeah, he does. He'd love it.
Oh,
I probably would.
He'd love it. He'd have Mom go cook
He's a
for
real
him.
homeboy.
He likes Mom's cooking.
Family. Our daughter would like to be 1,000 miles away from us.
Yeah, they're looking at jobs in Colorado and
Trying to wind up in Colorado.
Oh, really? I have a cousin in Boulder. They love it there.
well, that's where Cindy's wanting to go.
Denver or Colorado Springs, I think.
Boulder is where they'll end up.
Yeah, Boulder's, they say the
Too far from
climate's
Denver.
pretty mild there in Boulder.
That's where they went on their road trip, right?
Yep.
They went to Boulder.
Hmm.
And she piled in a car with a bunch of college students one spring break, and they took the long route to Colorado. They were up in Wyoming. They left from Santa Barbara, and they wound up in Wyoming.
Weather was so bad when they took off on this trip that they had shut 80 down. 80 is the main route between San Francisco and Reno. It was closed. And they went over and they had decided that they were going to go through the high pass through
Oh, Yosemite?
Yosemite. They were going to go across the Sierras at Yosemite, and that thing closes at the drop of a hat, and then they won't reopen it.
October and doesn't open until May or June.
You know, and
They took a detour up there. They were going to go over Tioga.
yeah, they
How
had,
did they have fun?
Oh, they had a blast. She told us about that trip for over a year. She kept a journal and all the crazy stuff they did. And they were in this big old, 73 station wagon, just big tank of a car.
monster.
And the guy had steer horn rope to the front of it. So everybody knew they were around. Full of college.
Yeah, that's my grandfather and grandmother. My parents' names, and then their some of their parents'
Okay.
names.
That-
Marion?
Marion, Marion, M-A-R-I-O-N.
I'd have you write that down because Kevin's son was.
Well, I need to write it in a different fashion. I wrote that for him. It's kind of hard to understand on there, but.
I don't know whether you've gone through Aunt Viva's stuff, but if you can read this,
Hey,
and especially when you get off into, she got some stuff up from, what was the one, I can't remember, her name was Reed, down in Arkansas. And when you follow the Bowerman through that lady's, because she had taken numbers and she'd put these Roman numerals and then put a letter and another number behind it. And when you follow that type of a history through, you can read anything. Anything's easy after that.
Do you have
Send you the address.
the information from Viva about who's buried in that little cemetery out there where she used to go and decorate it every year?
Bishop Cemetery, yeah.
I wrote down the names. I don't know.
Bishop.
Was it? I think it was Bishop. It's just a little old cemetery out there on a farm.
That's Bishop. That's the Bishop family that owns the farm, and it's the Bishop Cemetery. And Michael is IW is Bob's dad, and Michael came down from Tennessee. Michael is buried out there, and IW is buried over at Pennsboro. And Bob is buried over at Pennsboro, and so is Dad. And that's the way that is. And but Grandma had a daughter that is buried over there. Aunt Leela had a daughter or a sister that was buried there.
Well, I've got about the last time we saw Aunt Viva, she wasn't very well, but she dug out this little map that she had,
Yeah.
and she had drawn the different shapes of stones and
Yeah.
where they were, and wrote the names, and I hurriedly did that.
His mom still goes over there.
Yeah, Mom still goes over and her and Johnny goes over. Johnny promised his mother that he'd keep
Keep
that
that
place
up,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, we ought to go over there and take the camcorder. Mary over there with us.
No, it's only about
Tape it.
a mile from Pennsboro over there.
Well, way Viva talked, and I think Aunt Mary did too, that during the year that pretty well grows up.
Yeah,
Just
it
the
does.
weeds.
It's
and-
weeds.
Yes, we went and got the
It-
boxes and it was a mess.
It is worse than weeds. It goes into what they call stabs out there. That it's small trees about like
Uh-huh.
this that just comes up and all over the whole thing.
It's not kept up at all.
No. Mom said that the lady that owns the farm there, see, her family's buried in that graveyard too. And she is right now trying to run down the caretaker from Pennsboro. And she wants to get him to start taking care of it, because truthfully, once it's cleaned off, there's not that much there.
No, it's just a little low. It's not even an acre, I don't think.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
not
a little
that big. It's
Spot,
no more than a half acre, and I don't think it's that big.
I don't think so either.
It looks more like about 100 by maybe 40 or something
Mhm.
like that. And,
Well, that'd be nice if there could be someone.
well, this lady's trying to get them to do that, and Mom gives them money every year, and so does Johnny, towards upkeep of the place out there. And they do. They have been going out there and cutting it down. Normally, Johnny went out there and spent some time out this year knocking it down.
But you know, once something happens, Johnny and Sherry and Aunt Mary, and you know, well, there's not going to be anyone else hardly, probably. You know, unless it's you. But that generation sees going to be gone.
Yeah, well,
Our kids wouldn't know where it is.
I'm sure Jim got the Pennsboro tour back when he was a kid, going out to Pennsboro and there to Round Grove to the graveyard at Decoration Day. I'm sure he did, because that Vaughn and Gran went every year. Aunt Viva, Mom, I'm sure Aunt Leila went part of the time, and they made the tour of all of the graveyards, and they go through. Mom still goes to all of the graveyards and decorates all of the graves all over the place. She said she'd even been over to Phelps a couple of times and decorated your sister's grave over there at Phelps.
Now, you probably have those names that's in that Bishop Cemetery in your family tree,
Oh yeah.
don't you?
Oh yeah.
Do you have a place in there where they're buried? Is there a line for that?
This is the older one, and
This doesn't have a...
it didn't say buried on it. I normally, on this one, when I when I knew where they were, I would just put it under comments.
Oh.
But on the family tree, you can add a section. It doesn't come up like this, but it's in there. And when you bring it up, you'll find that it normally states we've got them buried. We've got Bowerman's buried at Pennsboro, and we've got them buried at Round Grove, and we've got them buried at the Bishop, and we've got them buried over at the Miller Cemetery back over. What do we call that? Elmwood? Is that right?
But
Something
you
like
know,
that.
as somebody that doesn't know these people, just sitting here listening. Oh, sorry. Pennsboro, is that Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri?
Pennsboro is a town called Pennsboro, and it was a big town at one point in time. Well, by their standards, it was a big town. Right now, if you went up there, there is one store and the church and the graveyard, and probably 3 farmers around there.
Sherry, it's been a long time. That's up there where Bon and Granny live, and it's been ages since you've been with us.
Well, I guess what I mean is, when we're putting cemeteries in or something, shouldn't we put what city, instead of just putting Pennsboro or whatever, would it be beneficial to put Pennsboro, Missouri, or whatever?
I think
For the future, like me and my kids on down to.
one of the things probably wouldn't hurt, especially with like the Bishop Cemetery, because that's on the Bishop property.
Right.
It probably wouldn't hurt to put Lawrence County, Missouri on there, at least to give you an idea. And if you want, you can go to the county seat, and they have a record of every cemetery in the county that's
even on private property.
even
like
on
that?
private property. It's a law, and you can go to them, and the law states that they not only know where the graveyards are, but they have to know when you open the grave. So they know who is buried where.
Yeah, if we know it, that'd be a good idea to put the county on there too.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of the Bowermans that were buried up around Steelville in Illinois. And Viva has pictures of that generation up there, pictures of their grave sites and whatnot, and it was the same thing as the Bishop.
Oh, was it?
And they were getting ready to grade it off, and apparently one of the Bowermans found them back there and stopped it because it was still a viable family graveyard.
You know, that I could see where that could happen if they didn't check it out good. Well, it's just ground.
Yeah. But
It'd be kind of sad though.
it's
it's like that one that's down there in Grand Lake.
Yeah, there's a cemetery under the lake there. Isn't
Under
there?
the lake?
Grand Lake.
Bull Shoals.
Yeah, down at Bull Shoals. The Parker family was at Bull Shoals. I got a grandparent that was buried there under Bull Shoals, buried in the little town down there, and
then
the
the water.
town's gone, and they moved the graveyard up on top of the hill of everybody that they could find.
They had a marker. They knew.
If they could find you and you were a relative of so-and-so that was buried here, they'd ask you permission to move him up there, okay? But we don't think they could find any of the Parkers, and I think my grandfather, or great-grandfather, is buried right there under Bull Shoals, but that's okay, he likes fish. You just get to see the fish on the other side now. I don't know about you, but it wouldn't bother me. If it was a good fishing lake, I think it was kind of nice.
Fishing lake would be all right.
I wouldn't want to be under a jet ski lake or something like that, but a good fishing lake, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
That one down there at Grand Lake, they were in the process of moving that, and that lake fell so fast, they got about half the
people
down there, and that lake filled up. Well, they got a couple of rains that was about like that 7 incher we got here, and they come in there on so fast, and it's coming in out of 2 rivers feeding in. And that night, whenever they went home, everything was dry, and the next day it's under about about 8 foot of water. And it's never been down since.
No, it wouldn't be with the Neosho feeding into it
Yeah.
like it does.
Well, you got Neosho and the spring both
Yeah.
feeding into it, you know.
With them, with us feeding in there, I don't think you'd ever get that lake down. It may silt up one of these days, but they'll never get it down.
Well, and then see, they've got the power plant there, right there at the dam, so they're dumping so much water all the time to keep that power plant going. They can't dump it as fast as it comes in.
No. Jill, I fished on the Neosho arm there with a guy that lives across the street from us in the 50s. And you go right there, and that's real close to Twin Bridges where we fish.
Yeah.
And you go down there today, and it's changed, but one side of the river is solid rock, and I'll bet there's not a foot of difference in water level than there was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Now you get down in there, and I saw quite a few. I went down there. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I was down there. Mom was hollering about blackberries, and there used to be a huge patch down in there, and I wanted to see if they were still down there.
She still go out and pick blackberries?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Her patch isn't ripe yet, though.
And that's what she was hollering about, and that's why I was looking around.
Do you remember the time up at Bond Grants, we went out and picked gooseberries, and I don't know, we had buckets full of them. And we come back in that night, it was about 8 o'clock when we got back to the house. And Gran had supper ready, and we said, everybody sit down and eat supper. And then Paul got to saying that he wanted a gooseberry cobbler. And your mom turned around and she told him, said, you stem me a gallon of gooseberries, and I'll make you a cobbler tonight. At 1 o'clock in the morning, she went in there and fired that old wood stove and made him a cobbler.
That sounds like I got married.
That's my mother.
That's your mother.
It's also my daughter.
Do you remember what your mom used to get about every Christmas for one of her Christmas presents?
No?
The pigtail?
Uh-uh.
We're always on Thanksgiving. The 3 or 4 days of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Bob always butchered. He would either butcher 4 or 6 hogs.
Yeah.
And he would always take one of those tails, the little curly tail, and he'd take it out and put it in the smokehouse and salt it. Bury it in salt. And your mom got that every year for Christmas. Well, I don't know how many years, she'd always get this old pigtail.
Oh, Bob was ornery. He was ornery.
Well, what was she supposed to do with it?
Well, it was just kind of a joke, I think, type of thing that, I suppose probably at the beginning of the story, she and Bob were kidding about it or
Yeah.
something.
She made some comment about the pigtail.
Yeah, yeah. Said it was no good or something.
Well,
You never know.
Yeah. I don't know the beginning of it.
That was like the time when we went up there to Bob and Granny's place, and your mother and I was just married, and your mom was a little bitty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she sat in there, and then Granny fixed the biggest old meal. We sat in there and ate, and your mom said something about,
Getting
well,
off
I
the floor
can't
or
eat any
something.
more on camera. You know, I've got my clothes all full and everything. Bob got up and went off back in the
Oh, no.
bedroom, and he come out with one of Granny's dresses. The whole dress is about that wide. And he walked up, and I think this is the first first or second time he ever met you.
Yeah.
And he walked up and he said, "Here, Marilyn, put this on. Maybe you can eat some more."
That was Bob. Yeah, that was
It
Bob.
was me, huh? I just remember going up there and, gosh, I guess Jimmy was a baby, and we went up there and they put this, she and V would put this spread on the table that, you know, looked like a Thanksgiving feast.
Right,
And I was, you know, Jimmy being a baby, I was fighting with him through the meal and didn't eat a whole lot, but I got plenty for me, you know, and Gran just had a fit. "Well, you haven't eaten enough, you sit down here and eat some more." And I
That
just
sounds like
couldn't-
him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how much food was there.
Well, she'd never, Aunt Eva and Grandma set out a meal that was normal for
Yeah, 3 or 4 kinds.
you. Saw it all your life.
Yeah.
Aunt Leela used to set that table all the time.
Oh, yeah.
3 meats and 5 vegetables and, you know,
Yeah,
and that was the start of it.
when we got married, he looked at this meal I put on the table, you know, which is enough for 2 people.
Right.
You call this a meal?
Yeah.
There's only one kind of meat. There's only one kind of vegetable. Sorry, but in my family, this is a meal.
Right. Right.
So if I picked what you wanted, we'd all be this big.
We're trying.
We do well enough as it is, yeah.
Well, we always eat that way, it seems like. Of course, my mother was always fixing for 5 boys and Dad,
You had to have a feast.
and got her table, you know, everything
He
was
worked
on it.
harder, too.
Well, yeah.
I told him I'd cook that way if he worked like his grandpa worked. He put in a day of physical labor like that, I'd put a meal like that on the table for him.
He decided he didn't want to work like
Yeah.
that. I don't blame him.
Don't change now and go to work.
No.
No. Never lived.
Mercy sakes.
Stand up on
I
that.
can't even use the tools of today and work as hard as they did.
Yeah.
Boy, that's the truth. They had people killing tools back then.
Those manual tools that you go out today. You can get yourself a tool that is gasoline powered and go out and clear fence rows with a thing, and it'd just about kill you today. And I know that Bob, because I remember Bob doing it, and he was in his 60s when he was doing that. Him and Johnny was out cleaning fence rows for old man Hickson up there.
Over Hickson.
Yeah, I remember them doing that when I was a
They
kid.
didn't have any gas-fired tools. did
No, they had an axe and they had a saw. That's all they had.
Had a 2-man saw.
And they would spend days doing nothing but cleaning fence rows out up there.
Yeah, and they cut out, I know there, one time they cut 2-mile hedgerow over there for Homer Hickson. And I don't remember what they were getting. I think $5 a day or something like that. But now they was there at sun up, and when the sun went down, they'd go home, and they'd be a heck of a stack of hedge posts. And that's what they was doing, they was cleaning that hedge, 2 mile of that out.
But can you imagine doing that? Even with chainsaws and stuff.
Yeah. There's Edith and there's Louise. And we didn't get Tom on there. Tom hates pictures.
We're in the wrong family.
He is. He really is.
I thought I just breathed, Nora.
Yeah, make the list of
Do that again, Greta. I missed it.
We stopped up there 2 or 3 years ago, and we had,
Oh, dear.
I think Chris was with us, and
Oh, it's his battery now.
stopped at the little school.
Now you are.
Hey, I've got a pot of fresh
That
coffee.
little sucker up and carried him,
Fresh pot of coffee.
carried him pretty near a quarter of a mile.
B2. It's about the 4th time he's flown over us.
Air show.
You're not a B2. You're watching the air show, though, huh?
Yeah.
Texoma Lodge, I don't know whether they had cabins, but they have a lodge there
Well, they have cabins that you can rent right there too.
at the lodge.
Yeah,
don't they?
that's what they were talking about. There's someplace down there, there was,
That was in Texas.
Yeah,
there was
Texas.
Texoma.
Tex-
Dorothy was on one?
Yeah, Texoma. Lake
It's on the
Texoma.
border
It's-
of Texas,
it's on the
Oklahoma, it's
border.
in both
Yeah.
states. It's a big lake.
Yeah, it goes on for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, if
It's a
you,
long ways down there, though.
if
From
you
here,
buy,
Yeah.
buy a fishing license in Texas, you can fish Texoma, every bit of it.
Yeah,
If you buy them in Oklahoma, you can fish Texoma, every bit of it.
They're reciprocal then apparently, aren't they?
Yeah,
it sounds like the Colorado River stamp. You have to get a special stamp for the Colorado River because it borders both California and
Oh, is that-
Arizona. And you have to have a special stamp out there.
Yeah.
And that, the money that is taken in for that stamp is split
Between the,
between the two states.
yeah. Well, if you go down there and buy a 10-day permit, and say you're staying at the Texoma Lodge or there at that campground, you buy a 10-day permit in that area. You can fish any place on the lake, but don't go down to across the lake and down on the Texas side and go down there and gas up and take your load of, if you've got fish, don't pull in over and gas up, come back to Oklahoma to gas up. But now if you buy a regular fishing license, you can fish any place and stop any place you want to, but just the permits. If you buy an Oklahoma permit for 10 days, you better come back to Oklahoma. You know.
But if you go over there and gas up, then
Well, if you've got a load of fish and you go over there and you pull in and tie up to their dock, well, you've got fish. It's not legal. Even though you bought a 10-day permit for the lake.
Carol, why don't you write your address on there? I'm not sure whether I have it or not.
I know we went down to Keystone, down there by Tulsa, went fishing, and I just went ahead and bought a yearly out-of-state permit, fishing permit. That way, if I want to go to Texoma, I can go down to Texoma and go fishing.
yeah, you can go to Grand Lake or
Yeah.
go any place on Spring River over there and fish that.
Yeah.
You know, they have a place, one of the guys at work was telling me, out here at Lake Afton, of course, that's not a very good lake to go boating, but they have their family reunion out there every year, and there's a big building out there that is air conditioned. And he says it works ideal for them, because the elderly people can stay in the air conditioning and they can visit and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're not too far away where the kids can go swimming, and there's a playground real close too where kids can go play.
Yeah, it's on the west side.
Mm-hmm. But as
Well,
far as,
this is going to be quite a ways. Well, it's probably kind of in the middle of some of them where the Parker family's going to have their reunion.
Oh, yeah, because a big part of the Parker family that goes to this is now down Fort Worth and Dallas and like that, so.
So that'll be close for them,
Yeah,
or better for them.
we've got a big chunk of our family down in there now that comes to this, and then we normally have either Pat or Jim comes in from up in California. They're up, Pat's in San Jose. Jim, nobody knows where he's at right at the moment, including Pat.
which way does the Parker go?
Parker's
That's Mother's family.
Aunt Mary's
Okay.
family.
Yeah, it's a very confusing family tree, and I chase rabbits all the time. That's the reason I'm wanting this. I consider you know, when you start one of these family trees and you get going, your earlier family tree only has a certain amount. Mine will handle over 1 million individuals. You know, once you get up into the three and above, it'll take as big as your hard drive is. It'll just keep putting people in. And I